Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today let's try and make something like a stylized metal. So let's start. So the first thing I will try to use the gradient. Maybe we can try the gradient linear 3 and I will use rotate this to 90 degree and I will increase the tiling to something like this. And what I will do is create curves to make something like this position. Like this, and this one right there. So if I connect this one right here, you can see the result. We increase the density of the normals like this one. Okay, and what we'll do is create some points. Maybe I can try to use the polygon. We decrease the gradient, decrease the scale. And what we will do is create a tile sampler. And I will use this one right here to make a mask like this, and I will invert because I want this one here in the middle. So I will put this one right here in mask map input. I will switch to pattern input and let's use the mask map threshold so it's perfect. So what I will do is decrease the number of tiling. Or just the scale will work. Let's get back right here. If I create a blend, we use the max lighting. If you take a look, it's not centered, so can try find what I can do. Okay. We'll go back. We'll disable this mask threshold. And what I will do is create a transform. Or I can use just the offset. Where is the like this? Perfect. That's what I'm talking about. And I will create a blur HQ, but this needs to be very soft. and a levels. And okay, let's start making the colors. So the only thing I will do is increase this one, the levels of this. Okay, let's go back right here. I will use a curvature smooth and blend back with the, maybe I can use the spots, but I want some big shapes, so I will create a blur and a slope blur against this one, and in this blur I will decrease the intensity, and you can see the results more noisy. If I multiply, can put this one in roughness. I can make the same thing to the metal, so I will use a histogram scan, but it's very important, invert this one, the curvature, and a histogram scan for the roughness. After this curve, maybe I can use a very soft blur, just not to make these two hard edges like this. So I will create a blur HQ, and this needs to be very soft like this, just to make these round edges. Okay, now I will create a gradient map for the colors. So let's start to create the gradient map with the curvature. The base color I think will be very simple. Something like this, but I think it's too dark, so we decrease this. And what I will do is create an ambient occlusion. We'll create a levels to invert the result. So let's take a color, maybe a dark orange. Like this, and here I will control this intensity. One thing I will try to make is create a slope right here, but let's try slope with something like a cells 4, but with a blur. Maybe I can just use the ambient occlusion instead of this. Mhm. Okay, I will use the first ambient occlusion just to make um, a real occlusion in albedo. So what we will do is we'll just duplicate this ambient occlusion and levels, but this one, maybe I can use this more intense. And let's control the levels for this. Um, Maybe I can make a spots too, make a gradient to make something like a rust. And with this, I will create a blur HQ in color and a slope blur in color too. Um, for this red line, we can just create a gradient, grayscale conversion. Mm, I have a better idea, I think. So what we will do is I can take the cells 4. I will decrease the scale. And the levels with this. We'll create a slope with decrease it. We'll decrease the warp intensity. With this, I will create a blur and a slope blur. Let's see what happens if I warp this value. So I will create a blend right here. Slope, but this time will be with the clouds too. Now again, make the same thing, create a very soft blur. This slope. With this, I can create color variation. So we just increase the intensity of this slope. We increase again. Gradient map. Maybe a blue, a green. Some yellow tones. Mm. Create other tones right here. Color variation to increase the quality of this material. Maybe I can create more color variation for this rest too. Okay, just to finish, let's try to see a high pass value with a gradient to cap these highlights here on top. Let's see, just to invert the order right here to make the rust before the occlusion. I think will be better here in the base color. So I think the material is really cool and hope you enjoy it, and I see you next time.